Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another ToutSuite Tête-à-Tête. My distinct pleasure to introduce Barbara Richards from Paloma Vineyards on Spring Mountain, her son Sheldon, and David Bridges, another one of our illustrious hosts here.
I'm Barbara's other son, actually.
Get in line with the rest of us, buddy. Fill out an application, Ron.
Sheldon's going to air a little dirty laundry and get disinherited tonight, right here live.
You know what? I want to launch right in, and Barbara, I know you've got this down to a science, but for those of us viewers out there that maybe aren't as familiar with your operation, take a few minutes and kind of introduce everybody to Paloma as a winery, and maybe just touch a little bit on the history and where things got started up on the hill.
We bought the property in '83. It was a forest. There was not even electricity there. So we planted part of it, 2/3 in '85, the rest in '88. Everything we planted in '85 got phylloxera, so we had to replant 4,200 vines. So my husband and I have taken care of the vineyard since it was planted. When we used to prune, it would take us basically 2 months to prune. Pruning 9 hours a day. There's about 7,000 vines there, which is not that many, really. So we still work in the vineyard from January through September. By September last year, we had been through the vineyard 9 separate times, touching every shoot on every vine 9 times. We are not going to make that this year. We're on our 5th go-round, and hopefully harvest is coming. So hopefully, that's a big hope.
That's always the hope for a vineyard.
Right.
It's always the hope.
And you cannot control the weather.
I've heard that.
I tried. It doesn't work.
A couple of the locals had some dances they tried.
Right.
There were
I've done dances every year.
Excellent.
So, it doesn't work.
Under the full moon, naked, of course. But I don't
Well,
want
of
to go
course, that's the absolutely only way to do it, right? Farming a grape. I mean, any experience with farming when you guys started planting
None.
vineyards, or this was a brand new venture?
We knew what grapevines looked like.
Okay.
That's it. That's it.
Wow. I mean, that is what's the conversation over the dinner table at night going, okay, we're gonna clear cut a forest and plant a vineyard and get into the wine business?
You hire a big D9 cat, it does wonders.
Did you get to drive the cat?
No.
Oh.
I drove mine for years. It's very small.
When we first started, or when Mom and Dad first started, Dad stayed in Texas and tried to pay for all this. Mother farmed by herself. So 9 months of the year, she drove the crawler, did the spraying, the mowing, the pruning, did it all. Killed the rattlesnakes, everything.
Nice.
So
you were up there packing that little heat?
Yeah, but I will say I have never killed a wild pig, as rumor has it.
Barehanded with a Bowie knife up there? Okay, Okay, so let's scratch that one off the top 10 legends we know about Barbara up at Paloma.
Hey, also just a reminder, we welcome your tweets tonight. The best tweet of the evening, as picked out by Christopher, will get an HP touchpad if we can find one at Best Buy, if and only if. So we'll be going to those shortly. Hey, so you got a couple wines here. Why don't we go ahead and pour one of them, and we'll get into this 2001 second, I would think, eh?
Barbara, what's your preference? Do you want to try the 06 first, and then?
Let's try the 06.
Okay, that's. And I see what I see actually is an 08.
08.
And an 01.
Why don't we try that 08 first?
I think that's an excellent idea. May I be so kind as to pour for you?
Mistake. Yeah.
Being raised in a culinary world, when the chef says it's okay, the rest of us are allowed to try it. Do you want to give us the nose of approval?
Right. It's fine.
Oh, excellent. Do you ever get tired of drinking your own wine?
I rarely drink our own wine.
Really?
If you drank it every day, you get sick of it, I think.
Okay. It's so funny for those of us that kind of cherish limited production wines like this. We can't imagine what it is tired of a great wine.
But I'm surrounded by wine, so there's no shortage.
Well, cheers, everybody. John, Stacy, Boris.
Cheers. Cheers.
Now, just for conversation, what are you guys out there? What are you drinking?
We're drinking Nickel Cab 2007.
2007 Nickel Cab.
Yeah.
And Boris, you've got a Slurpee there or a pina colada?
I actually wish I just finished my day of work and I haven't opened anything yet. I've been serious.
Wow, this is a terrific example of Merlot here. Good grief.
It's a big mountain Merlot.
That's a big mountain Merlot.
But it's very, very young.
Mm.
Our wines usually improve with time. So
We're sipping on the Boris, got a question?
Yeah, I'm somewhat familiar with your label. What was the reason for planting Merlot versus obviously, I mean, people when you think of Napa, you think of Cabernet Sauvignon, especially back in the days when you started the vineyard. So what was the initial idea about planting some Merlot on the mountainside?
there were no good consultants back
Okay.
in 85. So there was nobody to tell you what fruit, not what to analyze every foot of your land at great expense. So a friend of ours, Dan Duckhorn, had Merlot and Cab. So he found the property for us. So we planted Merlot and Cab. I
Okay.
have since strangled him.
Now, why do you say that? Where's the
Because
frustration?
Merlot is a very weak, wimpy vine. I would never plant Merlot again. If Merlot any moisture at bloom, it has shatter.
We lose half our crop 2 out of every
More
3 years.
than
2
half.
out of every 3 years, you lose half of your crop.
Sure.
We lose a great deal of a crop every 2 years. We have 2 years up, 2 years down, 2 years up. That part.
Spring Mountain gets more marine influence from the west coast than the valley. Most of the weather here comes up from the bay. Ours comes over the top, and that carries that fog in the spring. And all it takes is heavy fog, in other words, drizzle, and you get shatter, which is, for those that don't understand it, it's when you're about to flower, you're flowering, and it gets wet, and it doesn't pollinate, and you get a shot berry that forms.
Speaking of flowering, you're flowering. Chuck Petrie's in the house. Chuck, can you pick? Are you picking us up here, Chuck? No.
Well, I guess not.
Well, hey, what's really funny is you asked the question about why Merlot up on Spring Mountain, and that was exactly the tweet that we had come in, and so there was no chance this guy's going to win the HP touchscreen. That one's off the list.
Did Pride plant the Merlot after you? Was it some of your success that they saw that maybe encouraged them?
They
to...
did plant after us,
Yeah.
but not probably because of us. They grow everything.
They grow a lot of different varieties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always fascinated with the fence farm.
Maybe I missed information, but how many acres do you have planted currently?
15.
15. And do you actually contract with some? Do you actually sell some of the grapes as well, or do you keep it all for your own production?
We sell no grape nowadays. We did up until 89. Well, till 94.
Okay.
Yeah,
We originally sold to a couple of large wineries on the valley floor,
several.
and then Pride wanted our fruit because they were replanting and it wasn't full production yet. So we cut a deal with them and sold fruit to them.
Okay. Well, how about a little? You guys have some history of winemaking up there, and these big, juicy, delicious wine. There was a time when you couldn't sell Merlot in Napa, except for Paloma.
There was
Still
a
true.
time when Merlot was very popular.
Absolutely.
And thanks to Duckhorn,
Yeah.
he made it popular
His Three
all
Palms.
over the world.
His Three Palms Merlot put Merlot on the map in the Napa Valley. I think it's part of why they planted Merlot.
I think it's fascinating that some of the absolute greatest real estate in all of the Napa Valley is a Merlot vineyard. The Bancroft Ranch, the Keys Ranch, both up on Howe Mounds, the Three Palms
Right.
Vineyard north of St. Helena,
Right.
Pride and Paloma up on
But
Spring
mountain fruit is better.
You know, we've all had these wines hands down. What I'm always fascinated with is Merlot number one brings tannins to the equation. Mountain fruit brings tannins to the equation. These are supple wines. I'm not getting that.
We have very soft tannins.
It's beautiful. Even for a youthful 08, normally I'm used to the grip or that
No,
aggressiveness
we
of
don't have
the
that.
young wine, and
Yeah.
these are very lush and velvety.
Spring Mountain is a great place for red wines, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm slightly prejudiced.
Do
We
you,
have different soils, different microclimates, different elevations, all that stuff. And we pick in very small lots of picks. And then we blend them eventually. So that makes for a totally different wine. Up there, it takes us almost 30 days to go through bloom, whereas in the valley, it's 2 weeks. I talked to a Merlot grower who had 3 Merlot vineyards in the valley. In 30 years, he's never, ever had shatter. We have it every 2 damn years. So.
I think what might explain the quality, complexity of the wine is if you're growing grapes and you're making wine, you maybe are buying grapes from Calistoga, you're buying grapes from Howell Mountain, you're buying grapes from Rutherford, and blending those different grapes together to create complexity. And Spring Mountain has more soil types than any other AVA in the Napa Valley. It has a totally different weather pattern, and so within our vineyard, we have so many microclimates of different soil and different sun exposures that you can pick grapes from this side of the vineyard, that side of the vineyard, and down on this bench.
Or
and
one row.
And you're bringing those kind of complexities together. So within one vineyard, you're getting a lot of different flavors.
Yeah, it's. I think it also. Then you tell me the oak regiment that a wine like this sees is sometimes less obvious because the vineyard needs to be that voice in the wine
Yes,
and not
it
the.
does. Yeah.
It's 100% French oak, 33% new French oak.
Yeah, that's a great ratio for a wine. Again, I think the vineyard has a
I
very loud voice.
think
in the
we
wine.
don't want to cover up the fruit with oak.
You want to enhance it,
Yeah.
give it another layer of complexity, but you want the fruit to stand out.
By doing so many different picks, are you finding every year that maybe you're like, I can't wait to pick these 3 rows because we get really great
You
from
know
this?
where
or-
the good fruit is and the bad fruit.
There's weak areas. in the
There's
vineyard.
areas of where the fruit is smaller than peas.
Wow.
That area has the least taste of anything in my vineyard every year. So small is not always better.
Do you have any problems with the wild animals attacking certain parts of your
Yes.
vineyard because they know where all the good grapes are up there?
Deer we have a problem with.
So get it.
Yeah.
Hey Chuck, we're awfully happy to see you weathered the storm in North Carolina. How are you?
I'm doing well, Dan. Thanks. It was no big deal. There's a lot of wind.
Well, what are you drinking tonight? Boris has a pina colada. John and Stace, you're drinking delicious cab, and And I know you've got a deep cellar. What do you got in the glass?
I haven't hit it yet. I wanted to hear more about Paloma before I cracked anything.
Nice.
Well, we've got 2008 and 2001.
Do you have a Paloma?
I believe I do, but not the 08.
Okay.
All right, we'll wait here for you, Chuck, while you go grab it.
Hey, thanks for putting me on the spot. You guys are cool.
Hey, we've got a question on a Twitter question. It says, Barbara, I visited, knowing you're not into trends, but hey, is your demand picking up even among newbies waiting the best Merlot? And that's from Simple Math Wines out there. So,
We get quite a few newbies. We get a lot of people who wouldn't touch a Merlot. Ours is more cat-like than
It's
Merlot.
fun when you go to a pouring like California Family Winemakers last week, and people walk by and say, "Oh, I don't drink Merlot," and you say, "Just stop and try it." And then they do, and they go, "My God, I do like Merlot." It's because they've never tasted one before.
Easy on you one.
here, hey, are you maybe aware of Rudy McLean did a movie called Merlot? It was kind of an answer
No.
to
Seen that one.
Sideways.
No.
And
I
he's
didn't.
one of our guys, and we certainly support him. And you check out some of the stuff he does. Rudy, right there on camera, right there. That's Rudy. And he did a documentary film on Merlot from all over the world. Great Merlots from around the world. If you have an hour to kill on YouTube and don't want to buy it, which is what I did. Check it out.
It's only $10 on Amazon, guys. You know.
But you have to admit there's good Merlot and less good.
More.
Once I'm adopted, I'll be going on the road for it.
I can't afford you.
Yes, you can. I'm cheap. I work for
Keep trying, Dave. Keep trying.
Thanks, John.
We have 4 distributors that we took when we first started. They supported us when they never heard of it. So we will keep them forever.
Loyalty in the wine business? Are you
Yes.
insane?
Other than that, we're winery direct. So
Wow.
You can do that at our production levels.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I applaud that. There's, again, the intimacy you spend in the vineyards is also reflected in how the wine's leaving your careful embrace up on the mountain there
Right.
out into the
Right.
world.
There was
you
a
know?
time when we were number one wine in the world when we could have stopped going to the wine stores and restaurants and just gone retail direct to consumers. And that would have been a mistake. Those people supported us from the beginning. And so we in turn support them.
So let's talk about that moment. Your family, does the news come in like as a letter or a
No,
phone call or how do you find out that all of a sudden?
it was a phone call from Jim Lobby.
Okay.
He's called the Monday before Thanksgiving. He said, "Can you come down and have lunch?" We said no. We can't. We couldn't.
I'm
So,
sorry, go ahead. All right. Just find
We
that
met
hilarious.
him later that day.
Okay.
Fortunately, we were sitting down. He had the magazine. There we were, you know. It's a list you never look at because you don't know a soul on it.
You need to understand that the spectator doesn't normally tell you that you've won. They want to keep it a surprise for everybody. But they made a relaxation given my parents' age and said, we want them to be prepared for the shock. And even though we knew, and I had just recently arrived, it was overwhelming.
Is that when you were first adopted, you think? You arrived?
Yeah. And
I'll share a small story with you. As I became this champion amongst my wine drinking friends because I brought a couple of groups of friends of mine up to your winery
Okay.
prior to the release, and as they purchased their cases and magnums and huddled them down the mountain, the issue came out. So now I became this. What do you follow that up with? Kid, who do you introduce me to next? You know.
Exactly.
But I know a lot of them have been faithful clients of the winery over the decade or so.
Jim Lobby said, don't tell anybody because the magazine won't be here on maybe 10 days or 2 weeks. So we went home, we told Sheldon, nobody else. We had Thanksgiving dinner. Well, that was Monday. Tuesday, it was on the internet.
I need to interrupt and tell you that when she walked in the door, I said, "So how was lunch?" And she said she
We
was
didn't
walking.
have lunch.
She was walking on air, and she said, "We're number one." And I went, "What are you talking? Are you delirious? What are you talking about?" Took a while to get out of her that they'd actually been collected and told in advance. So pretty exciting.
So we didn't tell anybody. And then on Thursday, we had some neighbors up for Thanksgiving. Friday, the phone started at 4:30 in the morning.
In the
It
morning.
never
In New York.
stopped.
And let me tell you, folks, when you call Paloma Winery, Barbara answers the telephone.
But
You
not
call her
at
at
night.
4:30.
Not-
At night.
I
Are you like my
turned-
dad, 9 o'clock, you want to
I
plug?
turned it off. Yeah.
We'll give you Barbara's cell phone number here in a moment. But right now we have someone else who's actually had the opportunity to go up to Paloma and says, "Do the hummingbirds on the patio create any luck in tricky vintages?"
No, but I love hummingbirds.
They're good fried. I like them too.
Like the orange ones?
But you have to pluck them.
Or you burn the feathers off.
Yeah.
Burn the
It's
feathers
hard
off.
to just
Yeah.
rip the
Boil
little
them.
breast meat out of the hummingbird.
You eat them whole. Whole.
Right.
Crush those little bones. And then we've got Chuck Petrie here, I believe, asking to do Barber and Sheldon replace vines on an annual basis. And then he's asking about an iPad. Sorry, no iPads tonight. It's the $99 HP touchpad only if it's available at Best Buy tomorrow. But thanks for the question, Chuck. Do you replace vines annually?
I do lose a few annually, so I replace them. We have had Pierce's disease
Yeah.
in the past.
You're the one to make that call.
And you
Yes.
type.
Yeah.
And you type
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I want to mention another wine that you don't see is a Syrah from Paloma.
We used to grow Syrah grapes. We bottled maybe 125 cases. It got full of Utaipa, so we had to pull it.
That's another vineyard that you've bulldozed?
Let me share a story about the Syrah. Mom and Dad planted Syrah long before anybody else because they like Syrah. Simply that. And it only makes 75 or 80 cases, so a couple of barrels. And one day somebody was up, a writer or a critic, I don't know because I wasn't there, tasting the Merlot and said, "God, don't you make anything else?" And my father said, "Well, you can try our house spaghetti wine." And the guy went nuts, and they started bottling it, and we don't get to drink Syrah anymore because it gets full.
And so you're still making a small amount of Syrah?
But I've been buying Syrah
Oh,
from
gotcha.
Dry
We pulled the
Creek.
Because we had a small amount of your Syrah when I was a wine buyer down at Sheldon. We had a small amount, and it was
Palomita or
It was before Palomita.
The
If you were
Palomita.
at Sheldon,
yeah.
It was
delicious, the Malaga.
Yes,
The Malaga
exactly.
Syrah.
It was lovely.
I mean,
I
it was
loved-
fantastic, just like all your wines are.
Yawn.
I
Like all your
love
wines are.
the Syrah.
Probably enjoy that as much as Boris right now is enjoying that pina colada. Boris,
I'm going to interject again because I got one more quote for you here. And this was January 15th, 2010. James Labby repaced the 2001 Paloma Merlot, rechecking himself after declaring it that wine of the world.
wine of the world, best wine of the world. We have it right here.
And redeclares it the best California Merlot he's ever had, and declares the Paloma Spring Mountain Merlot Vineyard the finest in California. And we're talking better than the Duckhorn Three Palms, Behringer Bancroft Ranch, Pride Mountain, Lewis, Newton, Pallmeyer, the list goes on and on. Hands down, one of the finest locations for this grape that he's come across in his travels. How does that feel?
I think I
Taste
missed
that.
that, actually.
no, that was in his blog on last year. Remember he did the Spectator blog? And he talked about retasting our wine with a friend, I think it was, wasn't it?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, the density of this 2001, it's not only beautiful tonight. This is an incredible experience. I can't thank you enough for bringing this. But there's some longevity here. This wine can continue to age and perform. And
most of our wines do last quite a while.
Mother thinks our 94 is over the hill, so I opened a bottle that I had in my cellar, and it has traveled to Canada and back, and it was perfect.
we'll help you out with those
Absolutely
94s.
perfect.
Don't you worry. We're a support group here. So it's one of the splinters here of ToutSuite. It's called Mobile
Right.
Cellar Reduction Services. It's something we offer to all of our collectors out there. We'll pay our own airfare. Don't you worry. All we need is a guest room and a corkscrew. Don't
Right.
you worry.
We don't even need
We'll,
a guest room. A couch will do just fine.
Right.
Hey, I want to this 2001. It has much. It has fruit. It has density. I've never found your wines to be heavily tannin. So, what's your
No.
belief about weight, tannin, and this still has some bright acidity. So, what are your
We
thoughts on that?
grow good grapes.
Spring Mountain is very good for red grapes. That's part of it.
Yeah.
And part of it is our attention to detail in the vineyard. We really do work hard at it.
So, are you pretty much saying that if a chimp were given these grapes, they could make good wine?
He's making it now.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mother.
pride.
That's nice.
If you grow good fruit and you just sit back and let the wine make itself, it's the best way.
You know, in this day and age, it's almost amazing to almost think about it in terms of I don't want to use their phrase anti-marketing, but it's not a packaged, happy, shiny marketing. It's a farmed, like, love of a parcel that's put into a bottle. I mean, that kind of connection to the land, I think it transcends a lot of maybe the coldness that technology is sort of introducing sometimes into our industry.
A lot. Yeah.
We do have a question again. Have you ever submitted your wines to Eric Asimov? One of our tweet folks thinks that he would love the Paloma story and the unmanipulated classic style. Now, I always thought he was a science fiction writer.
So I loved iRobot. That was
interesting.
I was really a big fan of that.
Who he?
Asimov that was his father, I think, is the science fiction.
Oh, is it really?
I think so.
Well,
I think
listen,
so.
There you go.
It's same last name, but I think.
Hey, we'll just roll with it. It sounds good.
And have we submitted it? No, I don't think
No.
so. No.
There's
an awful lot of wine.
wines
Oh, every year.
every year, and
Yeah.
any to every and
Thanks,
all, or
Chuck.
just
No, Parker and Lobby.
How's your feeling about Parker stepping aside a little bit in California? Did that?
I have no idea. We have never made wine to Parker's taste. We don't do that.
We wouldn't know how.
We haven't
No.
done this. Eric is Isaac's son.
We have
There you go.
confirmation that Eric is Isaac's son,
And I
and he's a
have
New York Times critic.
I have never met Parker.
He's never been up to the winery. He's
No.
never come to meet you.
And I know for a fact when he tastes, he knows exactly what he's tasting.
Sure.
Lobby does not.
And remember, Lobby doesn't
So
do
Parker does not
Merlot
taste
anymore.
blind, and
No.
yeah.
Tim Fish does Merlot now for
Okay.
California. So
Yeah.
two of the big Merlot writers have stepped back.
Is that something that you have to address as a winery? Like, who's the new sheriff that's tasting my
No,
wine? Or?
we make wine
For us,
that we
Yeah.
like. That's
it's not
it.
about them.
Yeah.
It's nice that they like our wine, but I'm not a trained winemaker, and neither was Dad. So
Yeah.
we couldn't make a wine to fit their need.
Yeah.
We make a wine that we like.
Yeah, this is the approach that I'm most fond of cooking.
This is just for DBA. I'm going to have a
This
second
is-
splash of
this
this.
is-
So
this is food. We're taking the idea that wine is food, and if it tastes good to you, then that's the you're not chemical winemakers.
No, we are not.
A good winemaker is a chemist, so he can take a mediocre grape and probably tweak it and make it better. But we're not chemists. So
We grow good grapes. We make hopefully good wine.
You feel like if you love your crop, then it loves you back?
I love my vine.
I think she can name all, 7,000 or 8,000 of them. Those are
That's wonderful.
And
Those are
they,
the grandchildren.
they don't talk back to you. So,
Right.
I'll never talk back, Barbara.
Good.
And I'll certainly never correct you like someone
Right,
might.
right.
Just throwing it out there.
So, do you track what happens to your wine on the internet at all? Like, have you noticed, is
No,
anybody reselling your wine? The
Oh,
way
I've
it
gone to
happens?
winebid.com and
Used to.
Okay,
they still do.
yeah.
You can go to
Probably.
winebid.com. There's always one of our wines on there. For
I
sale.
don't want to know the people that are resellers.
Right.
If I find those people, I don't not sell
Wine.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Do you know what sells more than the number one wine in the world of ours? The Cab.
Oh,
Because
I'm
it was
sure.
only 74 cases made.
Look, the best thing for the wine business is to tell somebody they can't have it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
There's good cab and less cab. There's
Yes.
good Pinot and less Pinot.
Well, why don't we talk about what happened with Merlot, the truth, and I have my opinion. And Merlot was a great introduction to the Bordeaux varietals. They were soft and lush and fruited, and you could go out and buy a Merlot that was reasonable, and,
Right.
and generally it was a crowd pleaser.
Yes.
And then what happened?
Merlot got overplanted, like a lot of bad wines do. So there was good, bad, and indifferent. So now a lot of them are gone, which is good, but there will be more not so good cab, not so good Pinot, not so good everything.
Let's face it, the movie didn't help.
Yeah.
No.
It didn't initially hurt us because we had such a loyal following, but on top of that, the bad economy is everybody in the wine industry is selling less and working hard.
So when you bulldoze your Merlot vineyard up there, what will you replant? Are you thinking Chardonnay or
Not Chardonnay.
no?
No, ever. I'm not bulldozing anything.
We are replanting some, and it is.
I'm too old to
That's awesome.
start again.
Replanting it, it's still going to be Merlot. I mean, that's
Yeah.
dedication, knowing what you're getting into again, all over again, having to train those young vines how to live up on the mountain. And are you embracing? Now that there's all these flash consultants and all these amazing nurseries with this tech information, are there new clones that you're maybe thinking about planting? up
No,
there?
I'm not.
Yeah,
I
success
have
is success. Why
a
don't you
very
live it?
good consultant, Paul
If it ain't
Skinner.
broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Right. And now there's so damn many rootstocks and clones. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Now, if I planted the vineyard, I would probably have 25 different rootstocks in 15 acres and 25 different clones. That's, to me, dumb.
Yeah.
I don't care if you have 12 different soils.
Hey, John and Stacy, you guys are there drinking cab, and you knew we were going to have. Did you know we were going to have Paloma on here tonight?
Yes.
And
We did.
and you guys are consumers. I mean, what's your take on the cab Merlot, sort of world?
Well, I think Merlot, for us anyway, is a more pairing-friendly type of wine. I mean, we really enjoy it when we purchase it. It goes it goes well with a lot of the meals we either purchase or make at home. The Cab is of course, it's a unique wine and we enjoy it just as much. But we haven't had the opportunity to try the Paloma Merlot and look forward to it. And it's interesting hearing about the whole process and the history of your winery. Barbara, did you and your husband have a background prior to this? Or was this just we're going to move up here and start?
I grew up on a dairy farm. I like grapes much better than cows. That's my background. So
And Sheldon, was this passed down to the family, or you have a background, or as far as did you go outside of the family, or?
I lived in Canada from the time I was a teenager, and so there I managed restaurants for a number of years. And then I had a small PR company. So I moved here full-time 8 years ago. And crash course, learning the vineyard from Mom and learning the winery from Dad.
Very nice.
I can't wait to try the Merlot. I love a full-bodied wine. It sounds amazing. And Barbara, what's your favorite wine? I would love to know. I mean, at least style of. Is it Merlot?
I like all wines,
Yeah.
actually.
That's a hard question to ask. What's your favorite wine?
My favorite?
Yeah.
I love full body, probably cabs, because I just love. Every time he asks me, "What do you want to drink?" I say something rich and heavy and delicious, something that holds weight in my mouth. You know, that's what I like.
So don't forget,
That's perfect. I mean, dark, heavy, and delicious. I mean, Stacy, we're gonna get along just perfect. Hey, we've got 2 Twitter questions before I dig myself a hole. One of them is asking about are your wines always 100% Merlot, even the 2001?
Never, ever. They've been usually 15%.
Cabernet Sauvignon.
We planted just enough to have 23 rows to have about 15% cab.
And it varies around there. We do taste trials when we do the blending. But 15 is a good average.
And just to be clear, that question was a little too open-ended to be even considered as a HP Touchpad winner. So we have another question on Twitter. It says, I've introduced tons of people to wine. Beer guys always start with Merlot. I have my theories. What are yours? Why do beer guys always start with Merlot?
They probably don't like the big tannins in Cabernets. They don't like that gritty taste you get from a Cab and Merlots. Typically, Merlots were made as a blending grape to take the edge off a Cabernet. So when you have good fruit like ours, it's a standalone. We put a little Cabernet in it to give it some backbone. But I think that would be my guess.
You guys want to tell a quick story about accidentally releasing a Cabernet out to the world with I'm trying to think what it was. When did the Spectator get a hold of your Cabernet?
It was the 01.
It was the 01 Cabernet as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
And that was in 2003.
Yeah,
And
03.
we had 74 cases.
74 cases total.
Wow.
We did a cab for 08. We had 117 cases.
Wow.
If we have a down year in production on Merlot, we have a baby amount of cab. So,
You still continue to bottle a little bit of Cab up on the hill?
twice.
Just twice.
But to finish the story,
Yeah.
in 01 or in 03, we won Wine Spectator's Wine of the Year, and so you get slammed. The phone rings, the fax, the emails, it's just overwhelming. And we only made 74 cases of Cab, and it sold out on release. And then we got 95 points for the only Cab we've ever made, and it was sold out, and the phone rang off the hook again, and it was, what do you tell people?
People don't like no, do they?
No, they definitely really
They
don't.
don't.
Some people get very indignant about it.
They don't believe you.
Yeah.
They think you can whip up another batch.
Turn on the faucet and fill 2 more bottles.
You cannot.
Well, just keep in mind that you can find you can find the Paloma wine at palomavineyards.com. You can go there, join their mailing list, and order wines direct. So I would encourage you to do that. Hey, so where do you think? I mean, your production is still pretty. I mean, you're very limited stuff. So,
Yeah.
what's your total production? How about last year? Last year was not a banner year for numbers, but
Last year was a little over 1,100 cases.
No, that's the year before. That's the release we have now. It's going to come out in October. Is 1,100 cases. Last year's was a little up. We'll have over 2,000.
this is another reason why
Okay.
Sheldon is being
Okay.
disinherited.
Right. As of
Stick to the
now,
facts since you can't cut me off.
And I will be Barbara's new son.
I don't want.
Mom.
The best tweets
I
of that gets
have
to be
too
Barbara's
many
son for a
sons
year.
already. I don't need more.
So 1,100 cases of the 2008. 2009, what was production roughly?
No, the 09 that's coming out was 1,100 cases.
Okay.
And so the 10 that we picked last year will
Don't
be
get
over
snitty. Don't
2,000.
get snitty with me.
04, 05, 8, and 9, we had 1,100 cases. 06 and 07, we had over 3,000. So that's what.
No,
What-
07 we had 3,100 cases.
Sorry, I'm out by 100. I knew that, but I was trying to round it out.
But we had 26.
Hey,
About-
Barbara and Sheldon, how's the harvest this year going to look? Significantly less?
No,
it looks pretty good actually. It was a
It-
cool start to the year.
If we get harvest.
No, we're gonna get there. This weather's been really good this last month.
yeah.
Well, the last month. You guys are down here where it's 50 degrees in the morning. We're above the fog and it's 75 when we wake up every day. The
Nice.
sun. So it's a totally different world up there.
Well, I gotta tell you guys, I am really enjoying this 08. I will honestly admit my palate is becoming more akin to some cellared wines rather than that fresh released. But the density, I'm having a twofold experience. It's opening as we're sitting here talking, and I love
It does.
sometimes we're
yeah.
trying to stay riveted on what we're talking about, and yet you find yourself being drawn back in to kind of see where the wine is going. Is there something, Barbara, is there something you smell or taste that where that like any good chef, that banker factor with the back of your mind, you're like, yep, we nailed it. We're home. I mean, this is
No, when we pick, I taste. And I'm looking for the taste that this wine is going to produce.
and
So,
you've got to that point where when you pop a grape in your mouth in the vineyard, you can
Hundreds.
picture
hundreds.
hundreds
Yeah,
that you can picture with that finished glass of wine.
I
Well,
do. Yeah.
You can taste the final wine if you're picking it at the right moment. And vice versa, when you taste the wine, you can taste that grape. So there's a real art, and Mother does it. She rides around the Honda day after day and tastes grape all over the vineyard. And finally one day she said, okay, we're going to pick half of those 4 rows. Tomorrow we'll pick a ton. And then we may wait a week or 3 days, and she'll say, okay, we're going to do that whole block over there. We'll pick 4 ton. So it's really in the art of growing the grape and then of picking it at the right. You eat a cherry or a peach when it's not ripe. So why would you make wine with grapes that are not ripe? It's really
Actually, the big wineries that bought our grapes for years picked in 2 days. There's no mountain vineyard on earth that ripens in 2 days.
at the same time.
yeah.
So there was never any good wine made from my vineyard until Bob Foley made Pride's wine. And then we knew it could produce good wine.
Was that exciting for you to taste what Bob did with your vineyard? That
Oh,
first
it
glimpse,
was wonderful. It was wonderful.
and that,
Yeah,
that started the excitement of we need to do this, we need to bottle, we need to
exactly.
take maybe a second or two for our viewers as well, and love of Mexico, traveling down, just getting away from the valley and Cabo San Lucas.
No, we traveled to Mexico long before we had a vineyard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that was from the Midland
We
days.
didn't
and...
take a vacation for 12 years when we planted. So,
And that's where you came across a song in Mexico?
2 songs.
2 songs.
La Paloma, and I cannot sing Ukaru Karu. It's both about love songs about Paloma, which is dove in
Okay.
Spanish.
Excellent.
And Paloma was not used, so we got it.
We had
I love it.
we had some fun kids that were on the show a week or so ago from Taken Wine Company, and the name of their winery is Taken Wine Company because they kept submitting names and everything was
I
taken.
know,
so
it's hard. It's
very
really hard.
So just to have a little fun with you, I want to read you a quick quote. Okay, and this was about them naming their winery. It says, "These wines, not about your winery. I want to make everybody very clear about this. This is not a quote about Paloma. It says, these wines usually contain added sugar, artificial color, artificial flavor. Due to their low price and high alcohol content, they are often consumed by people with limited financial income, particularly college and high school students and people residing in low income areas and the homeless." What am I talking about?
I have no earthly idea.
So what I am talking about is something called Richard's Wild Irish Rose.
That name was used before we bought the vineyard.
Yes.
So we could not, thank God, use the name Richards. That was a blessing.
No kidding. I
Yes,
mean, just
yes.
sheerly on accident, finding out that there
Yeah,
was this
yeah.
name floating around out there.
Every name is used if you go to Dean and DeLuca and look at the labels. It's mind-boggling.
Well, they're all
How
doing funny labels now.
If
Just to
you
grab your eye.
don't have a weird name, you're up a creek.
In about 1990, I was in the Allentown Art Festival in Buffalo, New York, and the only room available was at a some hotel that will go nameless. But something struck an odd smell was going on in the room, and I found a half-eaten bologna sandwich in the dresser and a bottle of Richard's Wild Irish Rose. So,
Did you die?
Did you eat them and drink them?
and neither of them were mine. So,
Oh my God.
Stacy, you have a question? Were you in Buffalo, New York around 1990? Seriously. I think I saw
It's
you
supposed to be a
there.
Gideon Bible. Everything got crazy.
Right.
Let's
Stacy, what was that? Were you there?
I said you ate the rest of my sandwich, didn't you?
Hey, listen. If it had been salami, yes.
Oh!
Hey, John, watch it.
Barbara, was this your vision, your dream, or was it you and your husband?
Both of us.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Not only did you do it, but you did it well.
We both loved what we did and what happened. So I still love working in the vineyard. Much more than paperwork, which I loathe.
Much more than cows.
Yeah, exactly.
And I want everybody to make it their mission after tonight. Get into the restaurants out there, find an 01 Paloma on a wine list or in one of those great collector cellars out there. I'm putting my nose in this glass of 01 right now.
Hey,
And there's density and there's magic in single-sided wines. This is remarkable.
Hey, find a Paloma Merlot, any vintage. Any vintage. From the tweets, we've got the Simple
I
Math
think
Wine
we just got
Club.
some actually.
It's time, Boris.
Drinking the 2005, and they're loving it. That's Bren and Jerry, and they say that they love Barbara and Sheldon. Let's see. Oh, hold on, and then now someone else is also drinking the 03, spicy, big, and worthy. Again, we are friends. We are friends. We are friends. These wines are quite full bodied. I mean,
Some
but
people.
good fruit profile. Holy Toledo! What do we? Oh yes.
Wow.
These are the Paloma style meatballs. While on camera, we'll do our best not to chew, but swallow them whole.
Even if they're hot. Right.
Yeah.
They are hot. They are hot.
So some people love the 05 vintage more than any other. It was not my favorite, but everybody has a different taste, thank God. So
With all the technology involved in the wine business these days, it doesn't change your intimacy with the vineyard or the vines. It doesn't change your knowledge of that 15 acres. How are you embracing some of this newfangled technology? Maybe
I
that
don't.
operate- You don't. Not at
I
any.
don't. I know every vine in my vineyard. I know every weak spot, every vigorous area. I'm not changing
And
anything.
that's where the wines start.
Seriously, I mean, really, and that's in terms of how's the marketing of Merlot going? Even though you've got an established vineyard, a track record of success, are you still out there? Is it a grind on the road? Do you go on the road? Do you pick
No,
the one?
we do not go on the road.
At all.
No.
Do you distribute too?
In this economy, we should probably be on the road.
It's the
Right.
craziest reaction to our business.
Exactly.
But yet you can have Paloma. It's accessible. You go, you find it. It's there. the funniest thing about my travels today was I can find Paloma. I couldn't find any of the wild Irish rose.
Good.
How sad.
What has this world come to? Where's a good hobo wine shop when you need one?
Follow me.
I was going to say, Dave, go ahead.
Give me a bottle of Rosie with a skirt, a brown bag it. I'm out of here. Have you found any places that you take your wine? Do you travel and go to restaurants in other states or cities that carry the wines? Have you had that experience where another chef or another restaurant is just, it's Barbara from Paloma? I mean, have you seen that reception?
No, we
out
don't
there?
have a budget for traveling.
Did you hear that out there,
We're too
folks?
small.
I am going to North Carolina next week, and a wine store there has asked that I pour for them. So we do pour around the valley and then San Francisco, but we don't go on the road.
If you need a place to stay, our friend Chuck has a very roomy house in Cary, outside Raleigh.
And he's got Paloma in the cellar, so you don't have to
I don't
bring
have
your
taken
own.
it. You can just drink yours.
I have a bunch of customers in here.
I have a sister and a couple godchildren in Cary.
Okay, good.
So I'm hello to all of them. Glad you're all safe. And
Right, exactly.
we're very spoiled. This weekend we had Chamber of Commerce weather. I got a little sun on the dome at the IndyCar race at Infineon Raceway. We kicked around the valley, did a little yard work. Meanwhile,
Was the race packed?
it was packed, and I wouldn't even have gone, but I have kids, and I had tickets. Some got tickets given to me. I went. I had a ball, had an absolute ball. Got in before the traffic, left before the traffic.
Good.
That's a
boy.
horrible.
Woo! You a Dodger fan?
No, I'm smart. And I had plans. I had a date with my super hot girlfriend that night, so I had to make sure I got to back to Napa and carried on. But here we are. Are we blessed or what?
Yes,
I mean, we
are.
got a little grape shatter from the
But if
fog
you're
and such.
live,
Absolutely.
We do live in paradise.
Yes, yeah, we do.
And we do live in paradise, and for all of you who don't live here but would like to, please call me. I sell real estate here in Napa Valley. If you'd like to follow this little vineyard dream, just like a couple kids in a Volkswagen van that moved out here and started Paloma Winery,
Exactly.
come on out, talk to me. And,
Yeah.
So, Barbara, where were you in your travels when you met Jim? Were you in Southern California? Were you in Oregon? Where did you and the charming Jim? Where did those paths cross?
We met in Okinawa.
Up in Canada.
No,
Okinawa, Japan.
yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Korean
yeah.
War.
I was in the service. He was in the service.
Were you his commander? Was he under you? Or how did that,
We were equal.
Really?
Equal, yes.
And you just what branch of the service were you both in? How did that?
I was in the Army. He was in the Air Force.
He was a whack.
That's fantastic.
And the paths crossed, and did you get married in Japan while you're still in the service? Or
No,
that you came
we
back
got married in Mississippi when we both came back.
Okay, but to Mississippi. Now, where does Mississippi come in? Is that
Biloxi.
Biloxi.
Yeah,
Oh, so that was the
military base.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were back in the.
That's where he was born.
And that's where that happened.
Yes.
That would be me.
Hot date turned into the due date.
This one was born in Biloxi.
Adopted before you, though. Okay, just remember that.
Wow, another good wartime romance.
So what's the current retail price for the current vintage is 08, and what's the price?
54.
In 54, it was
But
45
for you,
and what?
It's been 54 since 2000.
No, it was 45 in 2001.
Okay.
So it's 54 now.
Okay, so you get wine of the world. You get all of the press, and your price does not go up by more than a few dollars.
Right. I think wine prices are stupid.
Let me put it this way. My parents a long time ago took a stand that said we won't pay $100 for a bottle of wine. Why would we charge somebody $100 for a bottle of wine?
Can we get a round of applause out there in the wine world for all of us? Thank you.
It is a good stamp.
It
That is
is.
a good skin. Liz is very
you know,
worthy.
But if you
I
have
think
a
it's actually,
wine picker and you have a vineyard management company and you have a big mortgage on your $1 billion property, you have to charge that much for your wine just to break even these days.
Good point.
It's an expensive industry.
Boris is a big Bordeaux fan, so I'm sure he has some comment on
well, you know,
on
it.
wine price.
No, what I wanted to mention, obviously, before doing what I'm doing right now, I was buying wine for a local wine shop, and you know, it's funny because we did got your wine, and we got a lot of your wines. We were very blessed back then in 04, 05, 06 when I was at Dina De Luca, and the funny thing is because I really appreciate what you guys are saying tonight, which is that A, you didn't bump up the price when you got the big reviews, and B, you did not start to disregard people which had purchased your wine before, which was actually Didier, which is actually in the room with you, which is the reason why I was at the Nuka at the time. But it's so rare because I've seen people with the approach that you have, which I think we can all appreciate. And I've seen other people getting big score 1 year, bumping up the price 50%. And then, you know, you get to a point where you sell out because it's the reviews, the point that people are buying. It's not so much of a loyalty. And then next vintage, if you don't get the same point, you're not going to lower your price. You're going to get into a situation where you cannot no longer sell the wine. And I've seen this happening over and over again, as much as I've seen people just getting me like 25, 50 cases on the first vintage when it was released and we were supporting the brand, to like down to nothing the following vintage because they got a big reviews, you know. And I think it tells a lot about your approach on not just the wine, but how you want your wine to be marketed, to just be respectful of people that were actually your first customers, and not just reflecting on big reviews, big point, meaning that we can just bump up the price and make some extra bucks, you know.
Bravo.
Bravo. That's well said.
I've had people in the history that could not afford whatever the price was 10 years ago. So they would put wine on layaway, which was fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody cannot afford expensive wine.
Neither can I. Thank you for bringing this 2001. Hey, we do have Charles Petrie out there asking where in North Carolina you're going to be, and he has some 800 thread count sheets. So, where in North Carolina are you going? Going to Charlotte, Raleigh, the mountains, or the coast?
I'm going to Salisbury for a week.
And who doesn't know where Salisbury is?
North of Charlotte.
North of Charlotte.
And then we have another question about, I bet everybody told you to build a tasting room early on. How did you guys react to that?
A tasting room?
Yes.
My tasting room is in my house. We don't have a per se tasting.
We have the most beautiful tasting room you could imagine. It's stunning. It's their dining room, living room, and a deck looking over the whole valley. And you get the owner that's doing the tasting, not a paid employee. She's not trying to sell you wine. She's telling you what it takes to grow the grapes. It's a much better story, a much better setting. It really is.
So even if Sheldon hosts you, it's still the truth, a non-paid employee. It works.
You think I'm allowed to taste?
And he is paid.
Who's the official palate? Who says this is the blend, this is going to market? Who's the stamp of approval?
We take 5 bottles. We put Merlot in and maybe 10, 12, 15, 18% cap. And then we taste blind. We have no idea who's who.
But we have a pretty good house palate, so we know what Paloma should taste. And so we're pretty close to each other. We used to do it with Mom and Dad and I. Now it's Mom and I. And we're pretty close. But ultimately, it's her decision. It's her vineyard and winery. So,
Barbara,
ahead.
Do you taste the old vintages when you're blending the new one?
No, I do not.
Each year's its own personality. Huh?
Yes. Each year is different, and it should be.
But we do. There are wineries that have a lot more acres that will try and blend a wine that's the best of what they have that year. We're small. We don't have that kind of flexibility. So we'd really try and blend to be consistent. People that buy Paloma want to know when they buy it next year that it's going to be the same or similar. The only variation is we grow the grapes, we make the wine. Variation is the weather. So
Right. And
it's
we
pretty
don't,
consistent if you taste it through a vertical.
and we don't make our laser. I think that would take the best out of here, and we don't do that.
Is there, are there any plans, and God bless him, we miss him every day, are there any plans to do any kind of commemorative bottling in honor of Jim? Or
No.
I know he was so
No.
humble, he would never, ever allow something
No.
like that.
No way.
Okay.
No.
God bless his memory, man. He was. I was very fortunate to meet him the same day I met you. I know he's not normally in front of visitors, so I was.
Right.
I was pretty lucky to catch him like that snowy white, leopard passing in the background there. One of my visits up to the mountain there.
Oh, remember, you can always find the more information on Paloma at palomavineyards.com.
Vineyard.
Palomavineyard.com.
No S. No.
No S. No S.
No BS.
No S. Just the straight palomavineyard.com.
And you guys are into visitors. You still open arms,
By
big warm
appointment.
smiles, lots of hugs.
By appointment.
Appointment.
Yeah.
Mom does some busy days, 5 or 6 tastings a day.
Wow.
She's very busy.
But if working in the vineyard, people can drive in. I don't even know they're there, so they need an appointment.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No.
Excellent. A couple of things coming up here
John
on
is asking.
Thursday on ToutSuite. We'll get to that question in just a sec, John. On Thursday at ToutSuite, John and Stacy, this is Cabernet Day on the planet. So log on to the ToutSuite website, and they'll be drinking Cabernets from Bordeaux to Napa Valley, to starting at 4 o'clock California time, all the way to about 8 o'clock. And for anybody out there that wants to get involved with beta testing with ToutSuite.com, you contact us. Contact at ToutSuite.com, and Susan or DDA will make arrangements for you to become one of our beta testers for the website as well. So, do we have any last tweets or questions out there before we?
John had a question.
John, what do you got?
No, we can't hear you.
Go ahead, John.
Just want to know if I can make an appointment now, Barbara, for this weekend.
Call me tomorrow.
What's the phone number?
Absolutely.
Okay, timer.
707-963-7504. But it's better to email me because quite often I'm in the vineyard. So
Good enough.
Accessible world-class wine. There's hope out there, folks.
So come visit.
It's worth it. It really is. It's beautiful.
We've been everywhere. We've been everywhere.
Just about, yeah.
We've been everywhere. Worthy stop. Worthy stop.
Without a doubt.
Worthy folks. Thank you. Just
The view
just being
is
genuine
incredible.
and genuine great wines. It's a pleasure.
And bravo.
Thank you.
Nice
Cheers.
meeting you all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
For your time.
Hey, remember, may your only pain be champagne. ToutSuite.com.